Bill Maher called out CNN's Kaitlan Collins on the network's bias. Let's watch.
You made press because you were on Stephen Colbert's show, and he said something like, you guys at CNN just report the news straight. And the crowd burst into laughter.
CNN is the place where both sides can watch. And
I'm talking about the people on CNN. And what I know what the conservative side of America thinks, and I don't blame them. They were just gushing about how great a speech it was. And I think she did fine. I didn't think it was as good as they were making it out to be. It does look like tokenism. It's kind of like the same as The View. In a way, I feel like it's more insulting than what Trump does. And Trump says you're the enemy of the people, which is pretty bad. What she's kind of saying is, I don't need you. I'm not talking to you. You don't matter. You're not relevant anymore. To me, that's even worse than I hate you. It's like, I don't think about you.
I don't know if it's worse than denigrating the press on a daily basis, which is what...
Not long ago, we showed you Bill Maher tearing into Kaitlan Collins for targeting Caroline Leavitt. We figured that would give Kaitlan a reason to rethink her stance, but no. She's doubled down instead. The CNN anchor continues to go after Leavitt, Trump, and Elon Musk with even more aggressive criticism, and Bill wasn't going to ignore it this time. The response? Even more intense, a full-blown reality check, and, fortunately for you, we've got everything you need to see it. Let's get started.
That tells you a lot, doesn't it? I mean, how do you guys think you are doing this in that arena of like, this is a terribly divided country. We're only politicized. A lot of people just hate the other side. And CNN, in my view, should be the place where both sides can watch. How do you think you're doing with that?
How is CNN is the place where both sides can watch. And I think, my show.
Before we break down Maher's fiery response, let's explore why someone like Maher, a Biden voter, now appears more aligned with Republicans. The truth is this: woke media figures have been laying traps for Trump since before his presidency began, on none more aggressively than Kaitlan Collins. In the clip we just watched, Collins was clearly setting him up, hoping for a misstep to frame Trump as unfit classic trap journalism.
Would you continue to give Ukraine money and weapons if you're elected? What's the answer?
If I'm president, I will have that war settled in one day, 24 hours. It'll be absolutely
Do you want
over.
Ukraine to win this war?
I don't think in terms of winning and losing. I think in terms of getting it settled so we stop killing all these people.
Can I just follow up on that, because that's a really important
Excuse me,
statement
let me
that you
just
just
follow
made
up.
there. Can you say if you want Ukraine or Russia to win this war?
I want everybody to stop dying. They're dying. Russians and Ukrainians. I want them to stop dying.
Had Trump said Ukraine should win, they'd accuse him of risking global war. Had he supported Russia, he'd be painted as disloyal. Either way, it was a no-win scenario for any American leader. But Trump didn't take the bait. He said it smartly, saying he wanted no further loss of life, Russian or Ukrainian. That move frustrated the media crowd, who hate losing control of the narrative. So, of course, they escalated their efforts. And it wasn't just Trump pushing back. He made it clear he wasn't playing their game anymore.
You held on to those documents when you knew the federal government was seeking them and then had given you a subpoena to return
Are you
them.
ready? Are you ready? Can I talk?
Yeah, what's
You
the
mind?
answer?
Do you mind?
I would like for you to answer the question.
Okay, it's very simple to answer.
That's why I asked it.
It's very simple to. You're a nasty person.
Rather than ask clear questions, Collins kept rambling and wasting airtime, typical CNN tactics. This wasn't about seeking truth. It was about crafting questions that corner Trump or catch him off guard. But Trump handled it like a pro boxer, dodging, weaving, and countering. 1 minute she thought she had him, the next she was off balance. Though she's no stranger to high-stakes interviews, Trump flipped the narrative again. Kaitlan didn't stop there. She went after Donald Trump Jr. Right after an attempt on his life, Trump Jr. fired back, blaming the media for stoking violence by constantly comparing his father to dictators. For nearly 10 years, they've cast Trump as a menace-stalking and vilifying him beyond reason.
The environment wasn't just created by Donald Trump.
Okay, but can I say, you can't blame, and everyone wants your dad to be safe. No one wants the threats against his life to happen, but you can't blame the media for those threats. There's been no
When
evidence
someone
that's
calls
what drove those.
and allows people to have a platform to call someone literally Hitler every day for 9 years, it creates it.
Okay.
Whether you want to believe it or not, that's a fact.
But as you know, J.D.
So-
Vance once likened your dad to Hitler as well. He questioned if you...
Did you notice when Kaitlan smugly brought up that J.D. Vance once compared Trump to Hitler? Big deal. Vance didn't have a media platform. His words didn't carry the same weight. And over time, even he realized Trump wasn't the villain the press made him out to be. That's when Maher hit his limit. He saw the double standards, the fake outrage, and the harm caused by these media campaigns. He spoke up. Maher called out the media's endless slant. Collins and her peers have spent years spinning a story where Biden is flawless and Trump is the enemy. That's not reporting, it's propaganda. Their fixation with keeping Democrats in power has led to non-stop Trump bashing, twisting every quote, inflating every headline. But when Biden's team is under fire, the media suddenly goes quiet, especially on issues like Hunter Biden's laptop. Instead of coverage, we got silence.
Appropriate to bury the Hunter Biden.
You're talking about the press doing that?
He's saying that's what they did, and that is what they did. They buried the Hunter Biden story before the election because they were like, we can't risk having the election thrown to Trump. We'll tell them after the election.
And we know for a fact that that's what they did?
Of course, you don't
but
follow
I'm
this.
saying you know for a fact that that's what they did. I don't know what they did.
I know, because you only watch MSNBC.
No.
Now, picture this. If Trump Jr. had even a sliver of Hunter's record, CNN would be in full frenzy. That's what set Maher off. He recognized what's happening. The media isn't just biased, they're masquerading as reporters while pushing agendas. This time, Maher wasn't letting them off. The Hunter Biden revelations were serious. We're lucky Hunter didn't convince his dad to make reckless decisions for a payday. With a shady history of influence trading, it's no joke. Yet the media still defends him, painting him as a troubled soul. But if Trump Jr. had half the baggage, there would be calls for criminal action. The media's hypocrisy is beyond belief.
Sorry, but she's only a star with leftists, and the fact that she has some roots in Alabama does not make her a fair and balanced reporter. I will submit to the record, her biggest sin is not that she is biased, though she is, it's that she's boring. She's extremely boring with no personality. I have a pro tip for her. Smile. Try smiling every once in a while. Try not to be, like, in your delivery, such a cold-hearted all the time, because it gives people nothing to bond to. You can be a tough interviewer and also have...
Whenever Trump's name comes up, the press invents controversies out of thin air. But when real scandals hit the Bidens, silence. That's why voices like Maher's are growing louder. Even loyal Democrats are waking up. This isn't journalism anymore, it's manipulation. And Kaitlan isn't the only one being exposed. Megyn Kelly nailed it. Collins can't escape her reputation for bias. She's as one-sided as CNN's political agenda. The mask of neutrality doesn't fit. Megyn even offered advise a smile a little. Lose the smug tone. You can be firm without coming off icy. A good journalist walks the line between sharp and hostile. Right now, Collins is leaning too far into the cold, and the audience knows it. So do Maher and Kelly.ef.
What you'd have to call some sort of media suppression of Hunter Biden's computer right before the election.
Oh, no doubt.
No doubt. Okay, so
and the truth is, I still don't know what I think about that. And sometimes,
right.
But I mean, to actually parse everything in there and figure out just how dirty Biden Sr. is as a result of the information there.
Can I go to step two? But nothing really. It was common. It was kind of sort of everyday graft that's sleazy that doesn't affect the world. Probably.
Right. Yes.
Hunter Biden sold his father's influence to get money, but Joe Biden himself would not give away our nuclear secrets to the Chinese. He's not. He has a soft spot for his son.
Yeah.
His ne'er-do-well, stupid son.
We've heard his voicemails to his.
Yes. So, like, Dad, I'm in a little bit of a jam. Could you just meet with the Chinese guy next week? It would mean a lot to me. And Joe would do it, and then and then Hunter would get the money.
Maybe it's finally time for Kaitlan to listen. Even Ben Shapiro is calling out CNN's lack of objectivity. Deep down, even liberal viewers know it's all performance. They don't mind, as long as the narrative makes them feel superior. But here's the catch. When longtime liberals start cringing at CNN's facade, you've lost the script. Kaitlan, the so-called neutral reporter, is still chasing gotchas with Karoline Leavitt. But the truth is, journalists like her want more than access, they want control. When they don't get it, they cry foul and accuse others of endangering democracy. But the real threat? A press that only respects the presidency when it's held by a Democrat. And let's talk about Karine Jean-Pierre. As White House press secretary, she restricted the press more than most. Still, she had the audacity to slam Karoline Leavitt for doing the same. That's hypocrisy in its purest form.
Kaitlan Collins from CNN, obviously talking about how terrible Trump is and what a terrible job he's doing and how Kamala Harris has all the momentum and all of that sort of thing. But that's not the interesting part of the clip. The interesting part of the clip is that Stephen Colbert says, in perfect seriousness, with a straight face, that the legacy media are objective. That CNN is objective, and listen to the reaction of the crowd. Again, this is a crowd who opts into viewing The Late Show with Stephen Colbert, which means that they are all on the left.
Trump has kind of been thrown on his heels by this, and he's not really sure how to go after Vice President Harris. He knew his attack lines on President Biden. He really has struggled with how to go after someone who's 20 years younger than him, who is a different gender, a different race. It's kind of been this moment where he has not been able to coalesce around a single attack line.
I know you guys are objective over there, that you just report the news as it is. Oh, I know. CNN makes a. I know
That's supposed to be a laugh line?
I wasn't supposed to be, but I guess.
Come on, under Biden, the press wasn't locked out to hide incompetence, it was about optics. But Jean-Pierre's actions weren't questioned. Levitt isn't trying to mask a chaotic White House, that's the difference. So yes, Karine, maybe, step aside on this one. The media's fixation with Trump is exhausting. Since day one, they've painted him as the villain. But here's the twist, they've only made him stronger. Despite all the negative coverage, Trump's support grows. You'd think they'd stop, but they don't. Same attacks, same backfiring results. If CNN wants to be taken seriously, they need to stop acting like partisan crusaders. But let's be honest, that's not happening anytime soon. The network isn't about facts, it's about control. And now, their relentless obsession is backfiring in a big way.
White House official made the decision to bar the AP reporter from the Oval Office and the diplomatic reception room last night.
Well, first of all, let me just set the record straight. It is a privilege to cover this White House. It's a privilege to be the White House press secretary. And nobody has the right to go into the Oval Office and ask the President of the United States questions. That's an invitation that is given. And there are hundreds of outlets on this campus, many of you in this room who don't have the privilege of being part of that pool every single day and getting to ask the President questions. We reserve the right to decide who gets to go into the Oval Office, and you all have credentials to be here, including the Associated Press, who is in this briefing room today.
But isn't it retaliatory in nature is the argument, because the reason that the AP was barred, which they said was because they're not using the phrase Gulf of America, they're using Gulf of Mexico in line with their standards. And so the question here is this setting a precedent that this White House will retaliate against reporters who don't use the language that you guys believe reporters should use? And
They aimed to ruin Trump, but only boosted his standing. They spread falsehoods, ignored real issues, and turned into political operatives instead of reporters. People aren't fooled. Bill Maher, Ben Shapiro, Megyn Kelly, they've all called it out. Even Democrats are sick of the bias, the hypocrisy, and the media's all-consuming Trump obsession. Kaitlan Collins has become part of that machine. Trump isn't the threat the media is. Their distortions, arrogance, and unwillingness to be fair are what's driving audiences away. And unless they change, they'll keep sliding into irrelevance. So, CNN, maybe listen to Bill Maher put down the shovel. The public is done. If you enjoyed this video, hit like, subscribe, and stick around for more unfiltered analysis. See you soon.